Welcome everyone to Tuesday night Luke Live Online. I'm Father James DeLucio with the Paulist Fathers, and tonight I'm going to pick up right where I left off last time when Jesus had concluded the powerful Sermon on the Plain, which was the balance of chapter 6. Therefore, today's pericope is Luke chapter 7, verses 1 through 10. And away we go. When Jesus had finished all his words to the people, he entered Capernaum. A centurion there had a slave who was ill and about to die, and he was valuable to him. When he heard about Jesus, he sent elders of the Jews to him, asking him to come and save the life of his slave. They approached Jesus and strongly urged him to come, saying, "He deserves to have you do this for him, for he loves our nation, and he built the synagogue for us." And Jesus went with them. But when he was only a short distance from the house, the centurion sent friends to tell him, "Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you enter under my roof. Therefore, I do not consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and let my servant be healed. For I too am a man subject to authority, and have soldiers subject to me. I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes. To another, 'Come here,' and he comes. To my slave, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turning, said to the crowd following him, "I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith." And when the messengers returned to the house, they found the slave in good health. The Gospel of the Lord. I don't know about you, but this is one of my favorite Gospel passages. Of course, you know, we repeat the words of the centurion every time we go to Mass just before we're about to receive the Eucharist. "Lord, I am not worthy to have you enter under my roof, but only say the word, and my soul shall be healed." In opposed to, of course, "Let my servant be healed." But here we are. Why is this one of my favorites? Well, for one, it's the sense of spirit and courtesy that the centurion has. We can't take him for granted. He's an extraordinary person. He's a Roman. He's one of the Roman soldiers. He grew up in the pagan faith, and yet he has a tremendous respect for Judaism. Unusual, really. For most of the Roman Empire, they degraded the Jews. They looked down upon them. They made fun of them. They scorned them. They enjoyed putting them down. So he grew up with that. Yet, clearly, his attentiveness to Judaism and his willingness to support them, as they said, he loves our nation. He had to be one of what they called the God-fearers, who were pagan people who were very intrigued by the God of Israel. They had become, by that point, very disenchanted with the gods and goddesses of the Greeks and the Roman pantheons. Remember, by this time, Aristophanes plays all those comedies which made buffoons of the gods and goddesses. That was 400 years before Jesus. They were pretty well known to people. So we know that people were searching for something more authentic, and clearly this centurion was. Like, obviously a minority of the pagan people, but significantly enough were recorded by the Jews in terms of the men mostly who would stay in the back of the synagogue and just listen to all the discourse, the dialogue and the debates of the religious leaders and the people. So clearly the centurion was one of them. Now, because of that, again, unusual, he has this respect for the other, for those who are different, and in a sense, knowing for those who are lowly, those who are on the very low level of the social strata. He gains nothing. He gains nothing politically. In fact, he may even endanger his own status and standing as a centurion by his sympathy, empathy, and support of the Jewish people. So that's extremely significant. And then beyond that, knowing that Jesus and hearing that Jesus is a prophet and a miracle worker, for that's already the reputation that's spreading about Jesus, he's so respectful. Now, another Roman soldier would just go and, hey, you, now come here, I've got this job for you to do. As we know, the soldiers treated Jesus with scorn in the Passion narrative, but not this fellow. No, in fact, he's so respectful, he doesn't want to, quote, contaminate Jesus with intrusion of a Gentile. He sends the elders of the Jews out of respect. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. And in a sense, he is the symbol of anyone and everyone who takes the time to be patiently understand people who are different from us, who takes the time to understand people of another religion or of another culture, and they want to be respectful. They don't want to just impose our ways. We want to know. We want to know. I'm someone from the Japanese culture. I need to know that I bow. I don't extend my hand. This is kind of an insult. I bow, or whatever it is may be, to show a sense of reverence for each person. Really, at the turn of this, what we call the Common Era, in the year of our Lord, 32, 33, this is extraordinary. Isn't it, though? Absolutely extraordinary. And it sort of harkens back in a little twist of cultures, Abraham and Sarah's wonderful welcoming into those three strangers who turn out to be angels and actually manifestations of God, into their tent when they finally receive the prophecy that in their old age they're going to finally have a child of their own, who of course turns out to be Isaac, right? So here we have the Gentile version of the hospitality of Abraham and Sarah. So he's so respectful, he sends the others, and then of course he says, I'm not worthy for you to have you come, which again is so wonderfully human. He's respectful and yet eager, please come, and then, oh my goodness, second thought, no, if I really want to be respectful to this Jewish leader, to this teacher, this prophet, this miracle worker, I can't let him come into my house. I'm not worthy. But I do know that he is a person of authority, and he's subject to authority. This also is extraordinary. He's obviously more than just heard about Jesus, because he's recognizing, as so many of Jesus's fellow countrymen at the time don't, that Jesus is subject to the authority of God, that Jesus defers to the Father, and he doesn't claim the power for himself. It's always the Spirit, the Father working through him, through his humanity. Somehow, by this little phrase, I too am a man subject to authority, meaning some greater power is working through the centurion. He's recognizing that a greater power is working through Jesus, which is really kind of, this is the faith of the apostles and the disciples, and yet here is this outsider being so open. So I love all this. I love the courtesy. I love the respect. I love the breaking boundaries. I love the courageousness of the centurion, not worrying what his other soldiers think, not concerned that he might be joked about at best, or ridiculed, or maybe even lose his job at worst, because he's giving credence to something that is different, something that is other, which is, of course, Jesus, the good, the true, the beautiful incarnate. And then when Jesus turns and says, not even in Israel have I found such faith, because of all the layers that we were just talking about. And then the beauty of when the messengers return, they find the slave in good health. And that's even another thing about the centurion. Of course, that's probably more common knowledge. He's so concerned about his servant, which that tells us a lot about a person too, doesn't it? Or just as the employer, with a real concern about his employees, the teacher, the doctors, the receptionists at the doctor's office, the receptionists at the parish offices. And you know who you are, who are kind and good and welcoming. So you're all echoing the spirit of that centurion in your respect and reverence for people. So that's our thoughts for today. That's my thoughts for today. Please add your comments and ideas, and we'll hope to see you next time. If you wish, join me Thursday night. I'm doing a live Facebook. It's live for me, and it's live to receive your comments, so I can interact with them right there spontaneously on our discussion of the movie Fatima. That's playing in movie theaters, AMC theaters throughout the country for only $5 this week. So if you're vaccinated and ready, eager to try going into the movie theater, as I did on Friday, go ahead. But you can also watch it on Netflix or other venues to be part of our conversation. That's again this Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Time. And then Friday, we have another Young at Heart. So hope to have you join me and I join you on those days, or if not, next week on Luke Live Online. Have a great week, everybody. God bless.